Unplug your cleaning routine with the Ryobi 18-volt ONE+ cordless cleaning lineup. From the soap-dispensing telescoping power scrubber to the advanced stick vacuum, Ryobi has a solution for every cleaning task. One battery powers over 300 products, giving you the power to do more. Exclusively at the Home Depot.
This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We are off and running on a Thursday evening here on VSiN Primetime alongside Matt Youmans. I am Tim Murray. We are live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. We've got some elimination games later on this evening. Actually, one about to start in our nation's capital, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals. Canes up 3-1. The Stars up in Winnipeg. Dallas leads that series 3-1. That one later tonight. And then in Denver tonight, the Mile High City, Mr. Youmans, Nuggets and Thunder, 3-2, the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, in some people's eyes, one of the worst teams in the history of the NBA. We'll relieve that gentleman nameless. But a fun one tonight, needless to say, and an important one for the Denver Nuggets, as they are now a 5-point dog, total sitting at 217. This total has been very fun to watch, Matt, as we've seen it kind of bounce all over the place from where it started and to where we are right now. It was as high as 219.5 at open, got as low as 211.5, and now has reemerged to 217 for this game, tipping off at around 8:30 Eastern there in Denver.
A lot of questions about Jamal Murray and his availability for the Nuggets tonight, and he's a pretty important piece, obviously, to what Denver's trying to do to keep this series live. In this series, Jamal Murray, 22 points, 5 assists per game. And if you watch the fourth quarter of Game 5, you know how important Jamal Murray is tonight to the Nuggets trying to stay alive, because Nikola Jokic had 4 made field goals. The rest of the Nuggets shot 1 for 15 from the floor. The only guy you know is going to be able to step up, and Jamal Murray had 27 points in that game. But he's the only guy you know is going to be there to support the Joker, for sure. Now, Aaron Gordon has played well in most games, but it feels like the Nuggets are playing 3-on-5. A lot of times they're out there. And sometimes a fourth player shows up, but you really can't count on it. So if Jamal Murray is compromised tonight by the illness, that's going to be big trouble. That said, I bet Denver +5 last night. I bet Denver +10.5 in the previous game, and I'm sticking with the Nuggets like I did Game 4, sticking with the Nuggets tonight, or sticking with the Nuggets Game 5, Game 6, to keep this alive for 7 games. I said before Game 5, Tim, I thought the Joker was really going to show up, because he was hearing from every angle that he was worn out, he was tired, he didn't look the same, he had bad shooting, he was 2 for 18 from 3 in the previous 2 games. I thought he would show up big time in Game 5, and he did. What do you have, 44 points and 22 rebounds? Something
I was
like
going to say, unfortunately, though, the rest of the team.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
But when your teammates shoot 1 for 15 in the fourth quarter, you can't win a game by yourself. I think the Joker's going to show up big again tonight. Look, he's a high IQ basketball player. And the more you play an opponent, the more you figure out their weaknesses and how you can score against them and what they're doing defensively. And I think the Nuggets has kind of figured out the weaknesses of this OKC team. Closeout games are always tough. Thunder are still kind of a young team trying to close this thing out on the road tonight. I like Denver +5. Hopefully Jamal Murray is not sick to his stomach, right?
Yeah, that is something we will check in on a little bit later on in the show. Andy Lindenall from Denver. He's actually at Ball Arena right now doing his radio program. As soon as he's done there, he'll jump on our show at 8:15 Eastern Time. Nikola Jokic, if you think he's going to have a double-double, Matt, all you got to do is lay $1,800. That's the price out there at DraftKings for Nikola Jokic to have a double-double. If you think he'll get a triple-double, +160 right now is the price at DraftKings for Nikola Jokic to have a triple-double. You mentioned it. Last time out for the Joker, 44 points, 15 boards, 5 assists, went 5 of 7 from 3, but it wasn't enough as the Oklahoma City Thunder in that fourth quarter on Tuesday night were able to pull away and win by 7, 112-105 at home, and that was not enough for a cover for Oklahoma City, but enough to get them a 3-2 lead. They are the odds-on favorites, Oklahoma City, to win the championship right now, with Minnesota waiting for the winner of this series in the Western Conference Finals as they took care of business last night over the Golden State Warriors. And then over in the East, which I'm sure we'll discuss as the night goes on, the New York Knicks, you better get it done tomorrow night, because I don't think they want to go back to Boston for a Game 7 as Boston keeps that series alive. And, of course, the Indiana Pacers waiting for the winner of that series, which will start early on in the week. So a lot to get to. Hockey about to get underway, Matt, but let's quickly check in on the PGA Championship down in Quail Hollow. And right now, your co-leaders, Ryan Gerard and Cam Davis, both shot 66s today. 5 under 66 from both Gerard and Davis. Still out there on the course, most notably, is Victor Hovland. He's had a very strong first round. He's at 3 under through 17, so he's on 18 right now. And I know a name that many people were curious about, Bryson DeChambeau, had a birdie on 17, birdie on 15 to get him under par, and he's about to wrap up his round. So we'll see how Bryson finishes up his round. He's 1 under through 17. He's currently on 18 right now.
Yeah, back in the year 1550, Nostradamus predicted that Ryan Gerard and Cam Davis would be leading the PGA after the first round.
You know, I actually had that on my Discord, but you never checked it out. You know, I gave it out for free.
I wish I had checked that, Tim, because we could have bet first round. How many people out there bet first round leader on Ryan Gerard? Raise your hand if you did. I see no hands out there. Cam Davis, possibly. But again, this is a very unpredictable first round today. You saw the big three pretty much bomb out for the most part during the day. Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, and then Scottie Scheffler got it together, pulled things together. He got to 2 under. So I think right now at this point with the leaders at 5 under, Scheffler's got to be your favorite to win the tournament. And we know Scottie tends to get off to some slow starts and then picks it up on the weekend, kind of a stalker. And he's I think that's what he's doing here. Now, I know he's a little bit frustrated today because he had to hit some mud balls a couple of times and the conditions were less than ideal. But, hey, you had guys going out there, little-known guys, no-name players who were going low, putting up some nice scores. You can't complain about the conditions when you got guys like Ryan Gerard, Cam Davis, Luke Donald, Ryan Fox, Alex Smalley, Stefan Jaeger, Aaron Rye, Johnny Vegas, all those players at 4 under or better today. Let's put it this way, Tim, if this leaderboard ended up the way it is right now, this would be a bookmaker's dream because every big name that's been bet by the public would not have to be paid off by the books. Obviously, things are going to change. We're just 1/4 of the way there, but very unpredictable first round today in the PGA.
Right now, your updated leaderboard, or your updated odds board, I should say, looks this way. Scottie Scheffler, as Matt, you alluded to, he is your betting favorite at plus 330, minus 150 to be top 5, minus 340 to finish top 10. And then Bryson, who is on 18 right now and looks quite frustrated at himself as he's flicking his pitching wedge in his hand there. He is 11-1. He's your second shot to win this thing. And I don't know where he's at from a shot standpoint, Matt, but I got to imagine it's approaching a bogey here on 18 as the odds ticked a little bit back. I will say this, and I know you ended up taking a shot on him as well. We had Steve Sands on the program on, Monday night, and he liked the Mad Ant, Tyrrell Hatton, on his card, and he had a pretty strong first day. Tyrrell Hatton, he shot a 3 under 68, and he right now is 3rd on your odds board over at DraftKings at 16-1.
Yeah, I got to give Steve Sands a bit of a hat tip for this because I've never bet Tyrrell Hatton, not Ricky Hatton, the boxer. Never bet Tyrrell Hatton in a major until this week. And after we talked with Steve Sands on the show, what was that, Monday night?
Monday night, yep.
I said, you know what, I'm going to give Hatton a shot here because he's been playing well. He's won a couple of times.
You got some ducks walking across the greens right now.
And here at Circa, Hatton was at 55-1. Woo. So after the show that night, I did bet Hatton at 55-1. And right now, that's my best hope. So let's hope with an assist from Steve Sands that we could get there with a Tyrrell Hatton this week.
Tyrrell Hatton, excuse me. Victor Hovland finishing up his round right now. So we'll get you updated on all of these. A lot of notable names a little bit further down the leaderboard, including Rory McIlroy, who, of course, we know the course history that he has had. He's won at Quail Hollow 4 times, Matt. Didn't look the Didn't look that way today. Shot a 3 over 74. Started on the back 9. Had a birdie on 10, bogey 11, birdie 15, and then doubled 16. And then on the front 9, bogey on 1, and he wrapped up his round with a bogey there on 9. So Rory McIlroy, a 3 over 74 today.
All I can say about this is it's a classic sports betting situation where a player or a team gets too popular, too overhyped, too popular, and everybody's betting that player and expecting that player to win, and he goes out, or that team goes out and takes a dump. And that's what Rory did today. And Tim, you see it a lot. And that's why sometimes your job as a handicapper is to see through the hype, the media hype. And I think Rory was just way overhyped this week. I bought into it a little bit too. I mean, he's won 4 times on this course, right? It was easy to buy into the Rory hype this week. But it looks like he's going to have to come from way back if he's going to win the PGA. But as we say that, Bryson DeChambeau misses, I believe, a par putt, right?
Huh. Yeah, so Bryson, I did take a crack on him to win it and top 10. So
I have him too.
We will see how that plays out. Justin Thomas, also someone that people were curious about this week, and he has not gotten off to a strong start. A 2 over today, wrapped up his round with a bogey to close out. So his round was kind of all over the place. He had ultimately 5 birdies, Matt, but he also had a double bogey. He had 5 bogeys as well. We're about to hit a break. Let's quickly update you on the Capitals and Hurricanes about to get underway there in the nation's capital. It looks like the Carolina Hurricanes, Matt, will close a $1.56 favorite. Worth noting, first period has yet to see a goal in any of the first 4 games. First period under -120 to 1.5. We'll see if that ultimately comes home. We're up and running. It is VSiN Primetime. We got plenty to talk about, including a conundrum. If you're looking to bet Circa Survivor this year, we'll hit on that with the schedule coming out last night.
Unplug your cleaning routine with the Ryobi 18 Vault One Plus cordless cleaning lineup. From tackling bathroom tile with the soap dispensing telescoping power scrubber, to cleaning wet and dry messes with the 2-in-1 Wet Dry Swift Clean Stick Vacuum, to cleaning up pet hair and debris with our advanced stick vacuum, Ryobi has a solution for every cleaning task. And because one battery powers over 300 products, you have the power to do more. Visit ryobitools.com to learn more. Sold exclusively at the Home Depot.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We keep it rolling here on VSiN Primetime alongside Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. Coming up bottom of the hour, Evan Abrams from the Action Network. He's got an article out taking a look at the schedule release and some of the unique trends, some of the scheduling advantages, rest advantages, all of that. We will get Evan's insight coming up bottom of the hour. We'll head to Denver in the second hour of the program. Ian Cameron, as Matt, you like to call him, the Canadian Kid, will join us hour 3. We'll get his thoughts on Dallas and Winnipeg. Puck drop north of the border around 9:30 Eastern. And then Wes Reynolds will recap the day at Quail Hollow in the final hour of the program. We'll take a look at what he's got on the card looking ahead to round number 2. Wrapping up the first round of the PGA Championship, and certainly someone, Matt, that we are all keeping a close eye on, Bryson DeChambeau. He has bogeyed his final hole, so he has wrapped up his round with a 71, so he will be even par heading into round number 2. Tied for 47th right now is Bryson DeChambeau, and his live odds have dropped to 14-1.
Tied for 47th, but he's the second choice on the live odds board. Scotty Scheffler, the favorite, DraftKings at plus 330. How about that? Scheffler's got better odds now than he had when the tournament started today, and he only shot 2 under. He's 3 strokes off the lead. Bryson DeChambeau at 14-1, the second choice, followed by John Rahm, the return of Rombo, and Terrell Hatton also right there at 16-1, followed by Colin Morikawa, Ludwig Oberg, and some others, including Rory McIlroy at 30-1.
How about this, man? Yeah. This is pretty funny. So Rory McIlroy is 3 over, shot a 74 today. Is that right? Tied for 102nd.
Yes.
He is 30-1. Also 30-1, Cam Davis and Ryan Gerard, your first-round leaders. So 5 under for Ryan Gerard, 5 under for Cam Davis, 3 over for Rory McIlroy, and they're all sitting there at 30-1 to win the PGA Championship.
Well, if you want to equate this to like an NBA game, let's go back to last night when Jaylen Brown could not execute a simple inbounds pass, right? Mitchell Robinson couldn't miss a free throw. And the Knicks had a first-quarter lead over the Celtics. Well, that was the end of the first quarter. The Knicks end up losing the game by 25. So we're 1 quarter into the PGA Championship right now, and you got to think that Rory's going to get a hot at some point, and the guys who were unrealistically low on the course today are going to come back to the pack. So and also, who's going to bet Ryan Gerard to win the tournament right now? Who's going to bet Cam Davis? You're not, right? There are bettors out there looking for value on players like Rory McIlroy saying, now I'm going to bet Rory at 30-1. So you can't put his odds too high if you're an odds maker.
Ryan Gerard, first-round leader. I'm trying to find what the number was. We'll find that for you. Do you have it? We'll look for it as the show goes on. Whatever it was, they were long. There's no doubt about that. So we'll get some thoughts on that. We're underway. The Capitals on the power play against the Carolina Hurricanes. About 5.5 minutes into the first period between the Caps and the Canes. The Carolina Hurricanes lead this series 3-1. The Carolina Hurricanes would move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they would await the winner of Toronto and Florida, as Florida went up north of the border yesterday and put it on. The Maple Leafs winning 6-1. You got what we got?
I got it.
What do we have?
So I had to look up both players because we've got Ryan Gerard and Cam Davis tied for the lead. The Westgate Superbook had 150-1 on each player to be the first-round leader.
Not bad. Not a bad day if you were able to throw that dart to the board. Now, it's not over yet because we've got Campos out there. He's 4 under, and he's through 16. So in theory, he or Johnny Vegas could end up snagging away first-round leader. So it is not you're not comfortable yet if you've got a Gerard or Davis ticket.
And also, how about this? Depending on where you bet, you got to read the rules because it's not necessarily a chop at every book. At the Westgate, the tiebreaker is most birdies.
Ooh.
And then if it's still tied, the better score on 18, 17, 16 in reverse order. So one player is going to get paid out on the Westgate first-round leaderboard. Most books, let's say almost every book is going to deal with this a little bit differently.
So this is interesting. So Ryan Gerard had 6 birdies and an eagle. Cam Davis had 7 birdies.
Cam Davis is your winner. Because the eagle doesn't count.
Yeah, there you go.
Does the eagle count as a birdie?
It's not a birdie.
I guess not.
But by the way, Johnny Vegas right now, eagle putt on 16. He's not going to get it, but in good shape to get a birdie, which would push him to 5 under. So we will keep our eyes on the old first-round leader market here as the final handful of golfers are out there on the course there at Quail Hollow. Once again, Wes Reynolds is going to join us in the final hour of the program. We'll get his thoughts on what he saw in the first round as well as what to expect tomorrow down there at Quail Hollow. You mentioned John Rahm. Take a look at his round. Eventful front 9. Bogey, birdie, bogey, bogey, birdie, bogey, and then birdie 8. Back 9, a birdie on 11, birdie on 15, a 70 today for John Rahm. He is 1 under par. So we're going to talk to Evan Abrams, who's got a great article out right now over at the Action Network. Matt, taking a look at rest advantages, how strong your strength of schedule is based off of the Vegas win total. San Francisco, by the way, has the easiest strength of schedule based off of Vegas win totals. The Giants have the most difficult schedule based off of win totals. But something that you and Mitch were talking about as he left the studio here, a unique conundrum this year if you're looking to get involved in Circa Survivor. Of course, Circa Survivor has the unique aspect of Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Those 4 games are its own week, as well as Christmas Day. So you got 3 games on Christmas Day, 4 games on Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Matt, 3 teams play on both Thanksgiving and Christmas. The Detroit Lions, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Dallas Cowboys, all 3 Matt, play on both Christmas and Thanksgiving. So when you're mapping this out and you're making sure, all right, if I'm able to make it to Thanksgiving, who do I have available? If I'm able to make it to Christmas Day, who do I have available? Well, what do you do with the Chiefs, the Lions, and the Dallas Cowboys? The Dallas Cowboys, as of right now, are an underdog in both of their games on both Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. The Philadelphia Eagles play on Black Friday. That would probably be the logical, in air quotes, option there. Christmas Day is pretty challenging. How good are the Denver Broncos going to be? You look at some of the look-ahead lines there, Matt. Expect to be pretty solid, at least from a power rating standpoint. Maybe you use Washington, but that's a rivalry game there at home, division game. But 3 teams on both Christmas and Thanksgiving make it a unique challenge to the already unique challenge about Circa Survivor.
It's not ideal for Circa Survivor to have 3 teams playing on Thanksgiving and Christmas when those are isolated weeks. I think that's something we should talk with Derek Stevens about. Is he going to be on the show with us?
We're
tonight?
hoping to get Derek on. He wants to come on tonight, but he is, he's a busy man. He's got an event going on up at Legacy Club, so we're fingers crossed maybe he can pop in. So I know Derek wants to talk to us about this schedule release, but hopefully we will get him to sneak in here at some point tonight. So that is the hope.
All right. By the way, it's still scoreless between the Caps and the Hurricanes. Didn't you say the first period of each game in this series has been scoreless?
That is correct. 4 games, all have gone under tonight. I believe it closed -20 to the under first period, 1.5. And we'll get more into Winnipeg and Dallas. Not as clear-cut on that one if you like the old first period unders. Games 1 and 4 in Winnipeg, Dallas, both were scoreless, but games 2 and 3 both went over that 1.5 total. -110 both ways for the first period under in Dallas, Winnipeg.
How about last night? The Vegas Golden Knights got knocked out by the Edmonton Oilers. How good a bet was the under last night in that game? Scoreless at the end of regulation, go to overtime, and the Oilers finally get one in. Somehow.
Rebound shot.
Yeah, kind of like they kind of mucked it up in front of the goal and got one to trickle in and won the game and won the series last night, knocked out Vegas. And
which all bets could be that easy.
Well, you know what's always interesting for me? Yeah, if you bet the under. That was not easy if you bet the side. Either way, that was a sweat the entire way. What's always interesting for me to watch at this point in the playoffs, Tim, is how much of a shot will Canada have to win the Cup? Because it's been, 1992, 93 since Canada.
93, the Montreal Canadiens beat the Los Angeles Kings.
The last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup, and I think Edmonton's got a hell of a shot to do it this year.
Right now, the Edmonton Oilers are your co-favorites at DraftKings. Oilers Stars, the winner of that series, you would think has a good chance to win the Stanley Cup. We're going to talk to Evan Abrams, get some unique trends for him regarding the schedule released yesterday for the NFL. But, speaking of Circa, of course, Circa Millions, Circa Survivor is going to be a big deal this summer. And if you're coming out to sign up, Matt, how about this deal? $400. It's called the Summer Ultimate Getaway. 2-night stay at Circa, $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, and your very own day bed at Stadium Swim, all for just $400. Resort fees and taxes included. Limited time offer, valid for stays between May 26th and September 4th. No better way. Come on out, sign up for Circa Millions, and stay here at Circa, circalasvegas.com. The Canes on the board, Matt Youmans.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The Carolina Hurricanes strike feist first in the nation's capital. 1-0 is the score. 9:37 to go in the first period. I did misspeak earlier in the show, Matt. It was not 4 straight scoreless first periods. All 4 games went under, but in Game 4, the Hurricanes did lead 1-0 after the first period. So right now, the Canes up 1-0. They strike first in the nation's capital, and the Hurricanes trying to advance on to the Eastern Conference semifinal. Jordan Staal scored the game's first goal, 9:38 in. We'll get more on Oklahoma City and Denver as that game's scheduled to tip off at 8:30 Eastern. We'll also get you updated on what's happening at the PGA Championship as Johnny Vegas has now tied atop the leaderboard. So we'll get you updated on all of that. But of course, Matt, yesterday the NFL schedule was released, and a gentleman who was working, I could only imagine, all throughout the night getting us some unique trends regarding the schedule. Evan Abrams over at the Action Network, and we will connect with him here in just a moment. Matt, before we reconnect here with Evan Abrams, I did want to circle back to the PGA Championship. As we mentioned, Johnny Vegas is now tied atop the leaderboard, and he is now 15 under through 16, and he still has, he started on the back nine, so he still has 8 and 9 to go, but a birdie on 7. And right now, Johnny Vegas has a chance to be your solo first-round leader.
How about that? Johnny Vegas, Cinderella story out of nowhere, tied for the lead now in the PGA. And Rafael Campos just missed, I want to say, like an 8-foot putt. He could have been tied as well. So we have some developments here late in the afternoon. I believe we also have Evan Abrams back on the line.
I believe that is the case. So all right, we will. Checking his levels right now. Once again, the Carolina Hurricanes lead 1-0, 7 and change to go in the first period. We will see if we get our first period over in this series. 1-0, the Canes leading the Capitals right now. All right, let's head to our progressive guest line. He is back and stable connection. Evan Abrams. You can follow him on Twitter at Evan H. Abrams. You know, we knew all of the opponents, obviously, for every team heading into last night. We just didn't know how it all would be structured out. So now it has been laid out for us, Evan. And when you look at strength of schedule and a rest advantage, etc., what jumped out to you from, you know, the numbers that you were able to pull from a schedule strength standpoint?
First of all, thanks for having me, guys. I mean, you saw some of the info even before the schedule came out when people looked at like records from last year. But in terms of, let's just talk about win totals off the bat. So the hardest schedules would be the Giants, and this is average opponent win totals. Giants, Browns, Lions end up having the hardest schedules in terms of that metric, while the 49ers, Patriots, and Saints end up having the easiest. I mean, some of it is just, you know, the NFC South has been terrible and is terrible. So the Saints, Bucks, Falcons end up having kind of easier schedules in that perspective. But to me, it's interesting also, like you said, to kind of look at rest. And then when you look at total positive rest differential, which is basically what is your rest differential versus your opponent in a single game, you get a positive score or a negative score. You had the Lions, who have the best positive rest differential at plus 12. Not only that, they have 6 games this season which have a positive rest differential for them, which is the best in the NFL. Seattle is second on that list. I think what's interesting is the other side. So the worst would be your Las Vegas Raiders. So they have 5 games in the negative rest differential, and their total negative rest for all games throughout the season, minus 19, which is very difficult for them, especially given the difficulties and the division. So I think, to me, probably the blanket on the top of exactly what happened there with the schedule.
Evan, when you looked at all this, did you say there's enough here to make me want to bet over this team's win total or under this team's win total when you analyzed how the schedule laid out?
This is going to sound crazy, but and we talked about it earlier when I recorded a podcast with Chris Raybon for the Action Network, but we kind of like Jacksonville. Like I don't necessarily think Jacksonville's schedule did them a ton of help, because if you look at it, week 1 is almost a must win against Carolina, because after that, and I have it brought up right here, Cincinnati, Houston, San Francisco, KC, Seattle, Rams. And then they have a bye, which to most people you'd say, wow, these teams are pretty good. And I'll turn around and say the offenses on those teams are mostly pretty good. And I expect with Liam Cohen, they're going to be pretty decent as well on the offensive side. So I think they're, at least hopefully going to stay in those games. So I think Jacksonville's one. And then the Giants. I mean, everywhere you look, the Giants have an easy schedule, maybe the easiest, a bunch of metrics there. And their win total couldn't be lower. They have the worst Super Bowl odds in the NFL. I kind of believe the defense is going to keep them in some games. So maybe you look at them to cover versus take the over on the win total. But I think the Giants might surprise some people at some point here.
Evan Abrams joining us here, courtesy of our progressive guest line. So sticking in the NFC East, Evan, you mentioned the Giants' schedule. Based off of your metrics and just looking at win totals, it is the most difficult schedule. And right out of the chute, there's some challenges. So, the Giants could be an interesting option. You mentioned maybe surprise some people. Could be an interesting option, too, from like an in-season over type of standpoint, because their schedule out of the chute is pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, looking over, it's Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, Chargers. And off that, it is the hardest of those first 4 games, but it's also the hardest of the entire season. So, I mean, to me, I think the advantage, and it starts in week 1. I mean, you're going to get 7.5 points against Washington. I mean, if I looked across the league and I said to myself, okay, in terms of actual rosters, which ones improve the most year to year? I honestly think the Giants would be up there. I think another one would be New England, and that's being shown in, I think they're favored in 11 games coming up this season. They were favored in virtually none last year, and it starts in week 1. And right now, line open at 2.5 for New England, going up to 3 and 3.5 against the Raiders. They're going to be a buy. I think under that 3 mark is going to be some value early on. I think you're going to be able to even try to find a middle if you want to get that plus 3.5 later on.
You know, it's funny. I looked at the Giants' schedule, and you're trying to find a winnable game on there. And I thought the Giants might be a little bit underrated in the betting market. But,
yeah,
man, you have to – at New Orleans in week 5, you have to go all the way down to a game against the Patriots in December till you see a game and you say, yeah, that's going to be a win for the Giants. I'm not even sure the Patriots, you could even count that. But the Giants have really a brutal schedule. We knew what the opponents were, but the way it lays out – it's when you look at it on paper, like, yeah, maybe I don't want to bet the Giants over the total. All right.
Yeah, again, the win totals are tough. I think the underdog role might actually just become more interesting for them.
Sure.
I hope Jackson Dart wins the job because the other thing is they're late buy, I believe. Yeah, late buy. It's going to make it tough for him to even take over at all.
That's week 14 as a buy for the Giants.
Ooh.
And when you look at that situation with Russell Wilson at quarterback, at Washington, at Dallas, home against the Chiefs, home against the Chargers. If the Giants are 0-4, there's going to be an outcry for Jackson Dart to take over at quarterback and bench Russell Wilson. So that's one of the things you kind of look at. How about travel miles? I like the Rams. I like the Rams a lot. Bet them to win the Super Bowl at 30-1. Probably going to play the Rams over the win total, but I think they're at the top or near the top at the travel miles list. Evan, Chargers and Rams are at the top. Is that something that would discourage you, or do you think that might be a little bit overrated?
I think in totality, travel miles are overrated. I think 10, 15 years ago, it's something you look at more when you talk about just how these players and teams get to these locations. It just doesn't have the same impact. I'm more of a guy who like to circle certain spots. But I mean, talking about your list, the thing I would say is probably most interesting are the teams that travel the least, which would be the Bengals at 32nd, Bills at 31st, Ravens at 30th. To me, it's the Bengals. I kind of circle that list. If you go up and down Cincinnati's schedule, especially with the fact they open in Cleveland, which is like if you can get by something that's really struggled for years and years for them, I feel like there's actually a nice case for their schedule going forward. And I like the fact that they end at home against Arizona and at home against the Browns in case they need a win here or there, whether they're already in and needed for the division or not. I think their schedule really does kind of give them a favor, even though they finished 3rd and maybe would have liked 4th last year.
Bengals, one of the teams I looked at last night in the schedule, and I said, after looking at the schedule, I like the case. I can make a stronger case for the Bengals over the win total.
Yeah, no doubt. Evan Abrams joining us here, courtesy of our progressive guest line. Before we let you run, Evan, week 1, we'll have the pro debuts of Cam Ward, anticipated to start for Tennessee at Denver, and the first start for J.J. McCarthy. What note did you find about first starts in week number 1?
Not the easiest, Tim. So Cam Ward, McCarthy begin their careers in week 1, having to play on the road against a non-first-year quarterback. And since the merger in 1970, rookie QBs having to play on the road week 1, 8-21 straight up, about 500 ATS. But it is really just trying to get the victory there that's tough, losing by about 6 points per game. And the tough thing is those teams only scoring about 18 points per game. And how about this one? The last one to actually get a straight-up win in that spot, not Sam Darnold, 2018. So actually been a minute. So tough ride there.
At Evan H. Abrams, check out his article. It's pinned to the top of his Twitter profile there. A lot of unique trends regarding the schedule being released. Evan, always appreciate it, man.
Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy the night.
There he is. Evan Abrams from the Action Network, courtesy of our progressive guest line. Matt, guess what? We got our first period over in the nation's capital. 1-1, Caps and Canes. We'll get you updated on that on the other side.
Unplug your cleaning routine with the Ryobi 18 Volt One Plus cordless cleaning lineup. From tackling bathroom tile with the soap dispensing telescoping power scrubber, to cleaning wet and dry messes with the 2-in-1 Wet Dry Swift Clean Stick Vacuum, to cleaning up pet hair and debris with our advanced stick vacuum, Ryobi has a solution for every cleaning task. And because one battery powers over 300 products, you have the power to do more. Visit ryobitools.com to learn more. Sold exclusively at the Home Depot.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Well, if you had Cam Davis or Girard to be the first-round leader, you're sitting on that 150-1 ticket. Ryan Girard, that is. Hopefully you didn't count your cash just yet, because here comes Johnny Vegas. And right now, Matt Youmans, he is your first-round leader. However, he's got to finish out his round. He started on the back nine today, started with a bogey on 10. Since then, he has put together 7 birdies, and he has birdied 4, 5, 7, and just birdied 8. And right now, Johnny Vegas, for the first time in his career, 45 career, starts at a major. He has a lead in a major.
Yeah, that's why betting the first-round leaderboard sometimes is trying to find a needle in a haystack, and you're just guessing, hoping to catch lightning. Johnny Vegas was at 200-1 odds at the Westgate Superbook, and odds maker Jeff Sherman at the Westgate just told me Johnny Vegas attracted 0 tickets at 200-1 odds. Guess what? The other two that we had talked about, Ryan Girard and Cam Davis, also attracted 0 tickets at the Westgate Superbook. So
they're happy right now.
And they were at 150-1. So the first-round leaderboard is the bookmaker is going to scoop the pot on all those bets with Johnny Vegas, Ryan Girard, or Cam Davis. If they end up tying, there's a tiebreaker formula, but that book took 0 bets on all 3 players.
That is wild to hear. So there you go. Johnny Vegas right now sitting atop the leaderboard at the PGA Championship, as he has had a tremendous front nine as he started on the back, and he has had 4 birdies, and right now wrapping up his round. 1 period in the books in the nation's capital. 1-1 is the score between the Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals. For the first time this series, we have seen a first period over. Games 1 through 3 all were scoreless. Game 4 was 1-0 Hurricanes. Canes took an early 1-0 lead. Capitals responded, and Logan Thompson made a phenomenal save on an empty net in the closing seconds there in the first period. So 1-1 the score. Your live line, Hurricanes -160, Capitals +124. Your over-under is sitting at 5.5 juiced over in this one, -130. This game closed 5.5 juiced under, -115. So a shift of juice, but no shift on the number just yet. 1-1 after 1 period. Capitals needing to stave off elimination here this evening.
Did Alex Ovechkin score yet in this series?
Did not. Yes, in this series he did.
He's got 1 goal in the series?
Yes.
Yeah. That was in the previous game?
He scored, yes, on, I believe it was Tuesday night, I believe is when he scored. Or Monday. Well, the last time they played, I think it was Monday night. So when we were in here together, we did see Alex Ovechkin score in the Capitals' 5-2 loss. That was the first time this series that the full game over came home. So we'll get more on the ice a little bit later on here in the show, Matt, but we've got PGA Championship, that round wrapping up. We've got first period in the books, and coming up in less than an hour, we've got Nuggets, and we've got the Oklahoma City Thunder, your betting favorite to win the NBA title, and that, folks, is our game of the night.
The lights are on and the stakes are high. It's the primetime game of the night.
All right, Matt Youmans, right now we sit Oklahoma City, a 5-point favorite. It's juiced here at circa -115 towards the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder, of course, came back, won Game 5 to take a 3-2 series lead. Jamal Murray, illness. He is listed as questionable for this game. We'll get the latest on that coming up in about a half hour when we head to the Mile High City and get the latest from Andy Lindahl from Denver there. He is at Ball Arena currently. Total sits at 217, Matt, in this series. Game 1, total was 229.5, and the game went over. Game 2, 229.5, and the game went over. Game 3, 232. Game went to overtime, still went under. Game 4, 228, under. And Game 5, 221.5, under. And now we have adjusted all the way down to 217. There's been some maneuvering there in the betting market on this total. Open 219.5, got as low as 211.5. Right now, sitting 217. You'll have a side you like in this game.
So, ironically, the 217 numbers where the previous game finished, 112, 105. I would, if this total weren't adjusted so much, I would agree with the underplay as well. I think what you're seeing is two teams are kind of running out of gas.
Yep.
And it's been pretty evident in the way the offense is bogged down. The shooting's been poor. In the fourth quarter, Nuggets were outscored 34-19. We talked about this. Nikola Jokic had 4 made field goals. The rest of the Nuggets went 1 for 15 from the field combined. That's ridiculous for something like that to happen in the NBA. But the Nuggets are so depth shy, you got to think this team's running on fumes at this point. So I would look under. Mm-hmm. I agree with the market move on that. I did play the Nuggets +5. I still think you see a lot of flaws in the way the Thunder play. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did what he had to do. He was not great in Game 5, but he was good enough. Alex Caruso, Luguentz Dort came up with some big shots, some clutch shots.
Caruso was phenomenal.
Caruso was great. And see, that's the Nuggets need somebody, whether it's Nuggets need somebody to step up and do that. It could be Aaron Gordon. It needs to be Michael Porter, but I don't think you can count on Porter. I don't think you can count on Porter. I don't think you can count on Christian Brown. Brown was 2 for 8 from 3. I'm tired of watching Christian Brown spot up in the corner for wide open threes and make 1 out of 4. When you're in the NBA, you got to shoot better than 1 out of 4 on wide open threes. And Porter and Brown were combined 2 for 13 from 3 in the previous game. Who's going to step up and help the Joker tonight? I don't know. Hopefully Murray is not too ill to be himself. He had 28 points in the previous game, but he was 3 for 13 from 3. I do think this series is taking a lot of toll on him, too, because the Joker and Murray have to do so much to carry this offense. Aaron Gordon, I think, has got to be the guy. But again, getting back to my original point, Thunder, a young team, I thought they were outplayed for 3 of the 4 quarters in Game 5, and the Nuggets kind of figured things out. I think Joker's figured some things out here. And closeout games are always tough on the road. You're asked to cover this number. I think the Nuggets got a great shot to win this game. I took the 5.
Jamal Murray, the Nuggets have announced he's available.
Oh, he's going to play. You know he's going to play. I was not worried about that at all. My concern is at what level can he play at tonight, because you know he's going to get it. You don't sit out a Game 6 of a playoff series like this unless you're Jay Cutler and the Chicago Bears are playing the Packers in the NFC Championship game. You got a sore knee and you're going to sit over on the bench and not play in the NFC. You're going to play in a playoff game. At some point, if you can't give it your best and you're hurting the team, you're going to pull yourself out, but you're going to try to play. So my concern is, at what level can Murray play at tonight? Hopefully he's going to be effective. A lot of times it's overrated. The guy being sick, he'll go out and play one of his better games when ill. We see it all the time. So Joker, Murray, hopefully they get a lot of help from Aaron Gordon and maybe Russell Westbrook, a guy like that. It's amazing to me how bad the Nuggets bench is if Russell Westbrook doesn't play well.
Yeah, and he's had some Westbrookian moments, wide open threes, airballing them, so we'll see if he steps up tonight. You hear it all said all the time, role players tend to play better at home, so we'll see if the Denver Nuggets can get said role players rolling tonight. I'll go ahead. I need a little in-game sweat here, so I'll go ahead and I'll take that under. So you'll go dog. I'll take the under. 217. Is there a 217.5? I don't know if there is.
Right here it's Circa.
Oh, Circa just popped to 217.5. So there you go. I will take the under. 217.5 on that one. This nugget courtesy of Matt Moore. Game 6 underdogs facing elimination. 10-31 straight up. 13-28 against the spread since 2013. But Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic together off of a loss in their playoff history, 17-11 against the numbers. So a couple trends there regarding tonight's game number 6 in Denver.
Well, we are seeing a former NBA champion at home in a Game 6. So I'm going to throw that trend out because I think it's – and you also have a 3-time MVP who's trying to carry this team. So I don't think that's probably factored into all the losses that piled up in that trend, right?
Let's take a look at some of our betting splits right now, Matt. 63% of the bets at DraftKings on the Denver Nuggets plus the 5. 76% of the bets on the over. And if you want access to our betting splits, which come to you from both Circa and DraftKings Sportsbook, well, guess what? You can get it as part of a VSiN Pro subscription. You can see the percentage of bets and percentage of handle on every game across every major sport, helping make you a smarter, more informed bettor. So get VSiN's exclusive betting splits for as little as $9.99 for the first month. Head on over to vsin.com/subscribe. First period in the books in the nation's capital. The Washington Caps and the Carolina Hurricanes tied at 1. Hurricanes minus 160 on the money line. The Caps plus 124. 30 minutes away from the start in Denver. Nuggets, a 5-point dog at home on the brink of elimination against Oklahoma City.
When an online shopper places an order, how that package arrives matters. I'm Al Coe, the CEO of ShipStation. Our promise is to make that process as easy as possible for you. ShipStation provides a robust platform to manage everything you sell, automate manual shipping tasks, and get the lowest possible carrier rates. Keep your team and your customers happy. Go to ShipStation.com to sign up for your free trial. That's ShipStation.com.
Unplug your cleaning routine with the Ryobi 18 Volt 1 Plus cordless cleaning lineup. From tackling bathroom tile with the soap dispensing telescoping power scrubber, to cleaning wet and dry messes with the 2-in-1 Wet Dry Swift Clean Stick Vacuum, to cleaning up pet hair and debris with our advanced stick vacuum, Ryobi has a solution for every cleaning task. And because one battery powers over 300 products, you have the power to do more. Visit RyobiTools.com to learn more. Sold exclusively at the Home Depot.